This is the prince who wanted everything. It's another Fionna and Cake. Oh my god. Oh my god. Wave your arms, Jason. Wave them.
No.
You will wave them.
No.
We wave one at
No.
these. Yay! Okay.
I'm so done with Fionna and Cake.
Hooray!
Okay, so this is obviously a Fionna and Cake episode. This one, Lumpy Space Princess has kidnapped the Ice King. What a twist! And forces him to read the story of the Lumpy Space Prince, which of course goes into, you know, that takes up most of the episode, which is the Lumpy Space Prince who has a totally different voice than Lumpy Space Princess. And is the guy from Shaun of the Dead, and what else was he from? Shaun of the Dead. He was the roommate of Shaun of the Dead, and so pretty.
Something else you said.
There was something else.
It doesn't matter. Shaun of the Dead is all that counts.
Yeah, right.
Roommate.
Yeah, the roommate in Shaun of the Dead, and that doesn't like the parents, so he decides to go off and.
Well, remember the parents want him to whittle his teeth down.
Yeah, get him shot.
And eat worms.
Yeah, eat worms.
To become a monster.
Yeah, and so they go and, or he goes into the art world, comes across Fionna and Cake, and wants to make everybody his minions, but they say, no, dude, knock it off, and he likes the peasant life, so he gets used to it, and sure enough, when the parents come back and want him to return, they try to fight them off, and he realizes the best way to fight them off is just to not care, so he shouts, I don't care, and sure enough, they eventually disappear. And then he's supposed to come into another reality, Lumpy Space Princess's reality, and, you know, be with her forever, but instead it's a possum who bites her and then goes up Ice King's robe. And we'll just guess where it goes from there.
It's a rabid possum.
Have you ever
by
seen the movie
way.
Rat's Night of Terror?
Surprisingly, no.
Imagine the girl in the sleeping bag. That's all I gotta say.
Like, the two people out there watching this that have seen this will just be like, oh my god!
Brad.
Brad, yeah, he'll be one of them.
It's a Bruno Mattei movie.
Oh, okay, so of course he's seen it. Alright, well, because of him, then probably even more people have seen it. I'm sure he's talked about it already. It's like, it's incredible. Yes. So, yeah, it's, I liked it. The only thing that every single time I see one of these now, it's, because I do really like the Fionna and Cake concept, I always want to see more of the world and what different people and creatures look like. And so I always get really impatient, like when it starts with the Lumpy Space Prince, I'm kind of like, yeah, moving along, come on, let me see what all the other people like. It's like, you know, oh, there's Magic Woman, that's cool, what's another one? You know, a Cinnamon Bun-ette, awesome, let's see what else we got. So I get really impatient, but at the same time, I liked the voice work of the Lumpy Space Prince. I thought he was kind of funny. I liked the weird anime-ish eyes they gave him half the time, which is probably overplayed, don't get me wrong, they probably do it too much, but it just always made me laugh. I thought it was funny. I liked how it even went through the hair. You know, you can see it through the hair. I like the close-up of the tear and stuff, you know. So that made me laugh. And yeah, I think if he wasn't that likable or the voice acting wasn't that funny, it probably wouldn't have worked as well, but because he was, he still got a good chunk of Fionna and Cake in there. I liked it okay. I also liked how Cake always pointed out stuff that never made sense. Like, how do you know your name? Does anyone else see those floating heads? Is that, you know, I thought that was funny, but I would like to see more of them, because, I don't know, it's just fun to see what they, you know, it's fun to see them do Finn and Jake stuff, but from, you know, a different gender, and just see it's like, oh, does that, you know, would they do this different, or how would they do it different if they were? So it's fun to me, but I dug it.
I liked it. I thought it was really cute. I wanted more cake. Yes.
I always want more cake.
Figuratively and literally.
That was such a nervous laugh there.
Sorry. While I wasn't quite as impatient as you, I'm not gonna lie, I just desperately wanted to pause and see everybody as it came around.
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't get to see absolutely everybody. Flame Prince looked really cool from what I could see, and Miss Cupcake, I guess, had a rack on her, and I was like so distracted by her rack. I was like, oh, I didn't see anybody else. Damn it! So
I can see why you wanted more cake, more cupcake,
oh.
double D cupcake, if you know what I mean.
disturbing. It was cute. At first I was like, oh, really? I was actually honestly confused because I had assumed wrongfully so that this, because it's fanfic and all that, I was like, oh, so LSP has like a tiny little crush on Finn? What's this about? I don't know that I like this. But I thought it was really cute in the end that it was like, well, she kind of emulates Finn a little bit, with the, I want to be poor and stuff. But you can tell she kind of thinks there's something cool about Finn. But then it was funny because in the end it was all, the whole point of it was that no one was as awesome as her, and so she wanted this prince to come from the parallel universe to be as awesome with her. So I thought that was pretty cute. That was it. I wasn't as excited about this. I mean, I was, but it was like, it's okay. I think it's another case of too much LSP, if that makes sense. For me, though, it wasn't the voice. The voice work was great. It was freaking hilarious. But it was okay.
The one thing before Jason talks, because his is always the least important, is that whenever they do these, I always have to remind myself, oh yeah, these are fan fiction, so they have to be written like the person who wrote it, with that in mind. So the last one, was Marceline, so it was very much going to be kind of centered around her and her story and so on. And then this one's Lumpy Space Princess, so it has to sort of be centered around her and what would she write in there. Where the first one was Ice King, and which was so bizarre, but he's so bizarre, so it kind of makes it okay. And it's strange, because on the one hand, it's neat looking at it from that point of view, but on the other hand, I think the Fionna and Cake world is so enjoyable and so funny that it's one of the few times where I do kind of want to say, screw the continuity, just show us more, just let the world kind of...
cupcake rack.
You are odd.
I know.
I mean, for me, I enjoy it so much, and I enjoy the variation that it's like, I would like just to see the world not necessarily told by a different person. Or hell, just let Ice King tell it again, maybe. I don't know. But, yeah, that's always a tough aspect you have to juggle in there. And you're just done.
This was bad fanfic written by bad fanfic. Like, the thing is the fanfic was Ice King's. The only reason why Marceline took over was because she's like, you're doing it wrong, let me just tell you. I've been listening the whole time. Now it is someone who has taken the fanfic world and written their own fanfic around the fanfic world. And that's, to me, just how I felt about this level entirely. It was just so bottom of the barrel. I love the voice actor. I loved him in Shaun of the Dead, and his voice work was really good.
Eat these worms. No!
But it's like, I'm so done with Fionna and Cake. Initially, from what I remember, the reason why they did Fionna and Cake is because they were mocking fanfic. They were kind of saying, ha ha ha, before you guys start doing this stuff, we're going to do it and get it out of the way. Now we're getting an episode every single season. And it's like, oh, so you don't like fanfic, but you're just going to keep encouraging it more and more and more, and now you're just having... I don't know, I wish it was an episode devoted to Finn and Jake. Not another Fionna and Cake episode. I liked Ice King in the beginning with the nod to misery.
Oh my God, yes.
The little board in the middle of his feet.
I did like that. That was funny. There's not much else. Like, I just didn't care. You were saying about...
The animals taking prisoners!
Whatever. You were saying about how Lumpy Space Princess likes Finn. Well, yeah, obviously a few episodes they made out.
Yeah, I know.
So...
But I just, I thought that was just part of, like, the goofy episode thing. I liked that in the end it turned out that she was still more in love with herself than anybody else.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I thought. It just was more in character.
Plus, also on top of that, I'm sorry, I thought it was a bit too well written to be coming from Lumpy Space Princess. Sorry, some of the things in there, it's like, nah, that's nothing like she would write.
Well, that's always the interesting juggle. Like, even with Ice King, a lot of that stuff, you sort of go, wait, he wouldn't write that, or even Marceline, it's like, wouldn't necessarily, write that stuff. And knock it off, Naruto. Or don't knock it, that's what you're doing, yeah.
Actually, I kind of would disagree when it comes to the Ice King. If you look, he had volumes and volumes and volumes and volumes of, Fionna and Cake stuff.
Mm.
So I think by the point in time we finally got to hear one, he had refined his writing style and the way he was doing it.
I suppose.
I think he gets out all his creativity and everything through his writing. So I think it actually kind of works. And Marceline, being as old as she is, I think she could change with it and go, oh, I've been listening to...
Well, the Marceline one was the least unrealistic.
Yeah.
That seemed to make this... Honestly, though, I was digging this one surprisingly more than the Marceline one, or the Marshall-Lee?
Marshall-Lee, yeah.
I dug this a little bit more than that because I thought there was a few more laughs in it. And I did like watching that Lumpy Space Prince, strangely enough, because he was just, I think because of the voice work and the strange animation on him, where even though I did like the Marshall-Lee one, I was sort of saying, like, okay, well, this is... kind of like you said, just sort of the fan fiction of these two, will there be a romance or not? And, yeah, I don't know. It's like, I should like the Marshall Lee one more, but for some reason I think that, I think a lot of it is just the voice work on this guy and the way he's written. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't know what you were talking about with the whole fan fiction thing.
And I'd like to state this for, the record. I'm fine with fanfic. When I was a kid, I did fanfic as well. But that was also 20 plus years ago. When you mock fanfic, don't keep coming back to it because then you are just kind of counteracting what you were saying to begin with.
Well, for me, it seems more like, instead of it, it might start off as a fanfic, but it was so good and so funny that it sort of took on a life of its own. So to me, whenever they do another one, it's not as much as, hey, we're just mocking fanfic. It's more, hey, we're having more fun with this world. But again, that gets to the tricky area with, Lumpy Space Princess wrote this one. You have to stay true that it's fan fiction. You know, so you have to really focus on this one area, but on the other hand, you're right, it's way too well written to be something she would write.
Do we really need more gosh darn Lumpy Space Princess or Prince?
Well, we haven't.
The Prince was fun. I dug the Prince. I'm sorry, he was funny.
He was okay.
I thought it was pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, it's... I don't know, I do get the feeling like I probably at most I could take one more. I mean, I know you're done, and probably rightfully so, don't get me wrong. It's a total selfish thing to want to see another one, because I know the next one will probably be really bad, and I'll be like, oh god, they should have stopped. But it's like, I'm still just so damn curious, because like I said, I just like the variation. I like you said, when they're flying through, it's like, I want to pause and see the different ones that they did. And maybe that's it. Maybe I want to see more of the characters and their interactions. I don't necessarily want to just focus on one or two throughout the whole thing. I want to see more of, just a bunch of the characters together.
And maybe that's partially what it is for me, is that the first two they did, you actually saw stuff going on at the parties.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, you saw them dancing, you saw a bit more interaction. Not a ton, but you definitely saw more. And this one was just kind of to me, it felt like we're going to cram in as many of these characters as we can, so you can be like, oh look, there's blank, and 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 it's like, it felt cheap. There was, and again, I know it's bad fanfic based off of fanfic, why were all the princes there? It kind of didn't really work. I don't know, it just didn't work for me. I don't know. It just felt cheap. And I like the look of them, but it didn't feel natural, and I know it's stupid talking about a fanfic episode.
I will say, when they had a bunch of the prisoners there, and they had, Flame Prince there, and I was thinking to myself, boy, I love to actually know what Flame Prince is like in this universe. I love to know, how things worked out, because even then it's things don't necessarily work out exactly how it did you know, in the real world, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's like, I like to know, well, what exactly is his story then, and how did this work out? And yeah, I don't know. I think I would, like I said, it's a very mix of what's going to be a good story and good characters, and just what I want to see. And what I want to see is all these different characters interact off each other, which is why I think you're right. I think the party atmosphere of the last two was a bit more clever. Yeah, I still dug it okay. I'm sure if they made a fourth one, I wouldn't like it, but you never know. So,
well, let's take bets right now. Since there will be another one, I can pretty much guarantee it. Let's think about now who is going to be the next one about.
The one who writes it. I mean, I wouldn't
write it, or who it's because, like, okay, Marceline kind of wrote it, kind of didn't.
Yeah.
She just kind of created her own right then and there. So it's kind of like, okay, you had, you know, Finn and Jake, first one, then you had Marceline.
Well, Ice King technically, but yeah.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, it focused around Finn and Jake, though.
Yeah, oh, okay, fair enough.
Finn and Jake,
Marceline,
and then now Lumpy Space Princess. Who do you think the next one is going to be about, or based around? What main characters?
I would probably say Flame Princess would do, like, the main one, because I'm sure people saw this, like, Flame Prince, what's Flame Prince? You know, kind of like what I was saying. But if not, I think they just do something batshit insane and do, like, Cinnamon Bun or something like that.
So that was actually my guess. I was going to go with Cinnamon Bun. One step lower than Lumpy Space Princess.
Oh, I like him now.
Well, I don't know. I only saw him briefly when he was actually smart. Well, I'm going to go, my guess is...
I don't know that character.
I'm going to go with Bubblegum. An entire episode around Bubblegum.
But didn't we
Or
kind
Gumball.
of didn't we get that before with the first
We
one,
did
kind of?
with Prince
That was
Gumball.
he was a background character more than, or a secondary
No.
character to
No,
Finn
he
and
was
Jake.
still pretty. It was
They
about...
went on dates and everything.
Yeah.
Went on dates and everything.
No, that is kind of right. I mean, we did spend a lot of time, you know, with him and Fiona and that, so I mean, it...
But the episode was about Fiona and Cake.
I think that'd be too repetitive.
Following Gumball.
I think that'd be too repetitive. I don't know if they would.
No, I'm just saying, that's my guess. I'm going to go with Gumball.
Okay. Joy, any guesses?
No.
Really?
No. It's like, I don't know, it's gonna be the Daleks from the Doctor Who reboot.
Yeah.
Every season we're gonna have one, and that's okay, because they're a fan favorite, and there's nothing wrong with them, but the more seasons you go, the more it's like, ooh, okay, way to shoehorn them in.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's more fun when it seems to fit. I think this is the time where it starts feeling like, oh Lord, another Dalek episode. Okay, well, at least let's get this over with so we can get through the rest of the season, sort of a thing.
That's what I was saying.
So.
It didn't feel... It felt like they had... You're completely right. It feels like they have to do a Fiona and Cake episode every season now.
See, honestly, I felt that with the last one anyway, so I'm just sort of like, okay, let's just enjoy the ride, is my thought, you know, because when I saw the opening, I was kind of like, yay, like, you know, let's see what they do. Like I said, because I just like the variety of it. Well, okay, seeing how they've done it 3 times now, but you know what I mean. You know, seeing the different characters and learning more about it.
Actually, I want to change my guess. I'm going to go with BMO.
BMO be interesting.
My guess is that it's going to be BMO, because BMO's just BMO.
BMO is a BMO.
And BMO would create a story.
And I could actually see BMO kind of going around Ooh.
Oh my god,
and
that
just
would be awesome.
seeing other people kind of interact.
That'd be great, yeah, just seeing them interact.
Or like Shelby. You know, kind of like just a background character. It's kind of like going around and doing their daily business. Like Shelby goes into, a store. And there's, Cinnamon Bun talking with, Gumball and talking with, Tree Trunker. I don't know. The male Tree Trunk.
Sir Trunks.
Yeah, Sir Trunks. Like, just then have those 3 interacting. And then after that's kind of done, Shelby goes into another area, or BMO does.
I think BMO would be a good idea
that.
because she technically has no gender and she seems to go back and forth.
So
she would be exactly the same. Yeah. No, that would be. I like that idea a lot, and I would really like that too. Like I said, just seeing them interact because that's really what I want to see.
Yeah, see, I'd enjoy that because it would be. Again, I think it's also the whole disappointed that it focused on Lumpy Space Princess.
Yeah, I
that
mean,
was kind of a.
I still liked it, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, I want to just be in this world. Let me just. The first one really seemed to do well at letting you just sort of accept this concept, you know, and have fun with it. And the second one was like, okay, but it was definitely, like I said, I was starting to feel like, well, okay, I'm sure they did this because they felt they had to.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, I felt the same. I just thought it was funnier. You know, I got more laughs out of it.
See,
so
I liked the Marshall Lee much better than this one.
Yeah.
I liked this one
Because-
but
It's also possibly because you like Marshall Lee over Lumpy Space Prince.
well, that's true.
Like Marceline is more likable.
That's true, I suppose.
could be.
I'm
So-
done now. I'm done with
Yeah.
this. Like Lumpy Space Prince said, I don't care.
Was that Lumpy Space Princess or Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Those both. I don't care. I don't care.
Eat you, Lumpy Space.
I
Do you want some cookies?
I don't.
Put the cookie down now. We do not have so. Rain the
I
corn.
don't care.
Close
I don't
us out.
care.
Close us out, Rain the corn.
I don't care.
Close us out, Rain the corn.
I don't care. In Korean.
Yes.
I don't care.
Does that mean your parents will disappear?
One can only hope.
I'm okay with that.
Dark.